Okay, so all right, so last week we worked on creating the users and stuff, right? Users and group. So, all right. So we created user terminator as a system, and then we created user Spider-Man manually. Okay, so there isn't anything new when you're creating user manually. The process I showed you is that's what it is. If it doesn't matter if it's a new operating system or old, they have remained the same. All right. Okay, moving along. All right. So let's see here. Let's connect to your first host. Mine is 123, and I'm logged in as a first host here. And notice it didn't ask me for the password. Why? Because I have set up passwordless using that user. If you try to do passwordless using some other user, it may ask you for the password also again. Like if you do setting Spider-Man, it will ask you for the password here. Can somebody tell me which password it's asking for? Spider-Man, yes. It even tells you right here. Spider-Man password. So I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna back out and then log in as my trusty ID. And then, so, mm, okay, so let's do one thing here. Let me go ahead and exit, and let's go ahead and log in as Spider-Man. I want to check something here, and I'm gonna give the password. Okay, and if I do ls-al, okay, so it looks like some of the hidden directories were automatically created, right? So in the old times, there you may have to create some of these directories manually here, right? Or did we do that? Yeah. No, I type exit. Did you close the window? Okay. You good now? Okay, Salman, are you able to connect to the server? Okay. People online can hear me, right? I'm not muted. Austin, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, okay, yeah. All right, so what is happening? Yeah, go ahead and provide the password. Whatever password you set up for Spider-Man, provide that. So it's not working. So what you do is you log back in as ZMPT, and then did I already showed you how to reset the password?
No, but I enter as a Spider-Man, yes, on first server.
Okay, good. Okay, go ahead and share your screen. Yeah. So this is one off. I'm going to officially show you how to reset the password. So type PASSWD and then give it a name, Spider-Man. Enter. Okay, it says only root. So what you need to do is sudo su minus. No, sudo delete hyphen space su space hyphen and hit enter. Okay, now give the password for ZMPT. Okay, now you run that command here, copy paste from the top, password Spider-Man. Right there, right there. Go down, keep going on. It's like only fourth line from bottom. Yeah. Enter. PASSWD SPIDERMAN. Okay, so are you connecting to correct host? Do ID Spider-Man? Okay, you know what? Yeah, so what happened here is the IP got changed, I think. The reason being is we don't have a DNS setup. So you logging in. So do IPA, IP space A, no, not sudo, IP space A. Mhm. Hit enter. And let's see, 10.1.10.43. It got messed up. So now for this problem, we're gonna there is a chapter I'm gonna show. It's called DNS, uh domain name system. Okay, that's a very big complex stuff I'm gonna show you. But for now, I have to give you the correct passwords here. Not the correct password, the IP address might have changed here. So your server one, right? No, where am I at? Amit one.
Austin cannot hear you.
Okay.
Austin cannot hear you.
Uh, oh, Austin, can you hear me, Austin? Salman, can you hear me?
Yes, I can.
Okay. Okay, share your screen. Hamid, share your screen again. Okay, yeah, I see it. So do ID Spider-Man again. Okay. It says here, no such user, right? Let's do cat space slash etc forward slash etc forward slash password PASSWD. Enter. Do you see Spider-Man in there? Okay, now do ID Spider-Man. Why is it doing that?
Sir, Spider-Man spelling is MEN over there. You can see in the last line.
There it is.
There you go.
Okay, so now you exit and then log in as Spider-Man.
Search.
Bring the line back up. Bring the line up. There you go. No, yeah, couple times. Few more times. No? Oh no, actually exit again. Exit again because you're still in. Okay, yeah. Now, there you go, Spider-Man. No, not man. You want to change, do Control C again. Control C. Okay, so bring the line up and change to Spider-Man A to E. There it is. All right, so that was a good troubleshooting step. This happens a lot all the time. Okay, so moving along. So everybody is able to log in at least to their first server, right? So all right, let me go back here. So what we did here. Okay, so we created a user manually, VI etc password. We copied um, we create Xmen also. Okay, so we created Terminator, Xmen, and all right. So the reason we create Xmen is because earlier we changed the series. Okay, so that is there. Okay, good. So all right, now let's get back to I'm gonna exit out of here, and then what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna log in as ZMPT. Everybody log in as ZMPT to your first host, which should be passwordless. And then I'm gonna do sudo, yeah, exit out of experiment, come back in as ZMPT, then become root. Um, people online, if you are behind, holler, okay? We want everybody to be on. Excuse me. We want everybody to be on the same page. So if you have a question, holler. Austin, how are you doing? Oh, I think he dropped off.
I'm good. I'm good. No, I'm here. I figured it out. It was my computer, my headphones. So I figured it out.
But the video shows me trying to put a keypad in. It looked like
Ms. Zafar.
Yeah, I hear you.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah, yeah, that was it. I figured it out though.
Shifting his weight.
Okay. All right, thanks. All right, so all right. So I'm gonna switch to as on my first server as root, okay? Going forward, most of our stuff we're gonna be doing as root. Now you are an administrator. You graduated from a junior guy, monitoring guy. You barely had any access. Now you are managing 3 servers. Later on, you'll be managing like 12 servers, okay?
Ms. Zafar, how should we get to the root access? I try to do like sudo, it won't let me.
Okay, on your first server, log in as ZMPT.
Okay.
And then you know that secret password I already gave you guys. Don't add number 1 in front of it, just do it.
So pick any one of the Zafar passwords or servers.
Oh, I didn't give you any? Oh, my bad.
No, I don't think so.
Oh, okay. Go into 128.
Okay.
I thought I gave you. You aren't speaking up, man. Speak up.
My bad, Mr. Zafar.
Yeah. Okay. Root at whatever server, 1, 2, or 3, we don't care. But I think since we are following the flow, stay on whatever server you've been working with, okay?
Yeah.
All right, so now we are as a root here. So I'm gonna do clear, and I'm gonna do ID terminator. Okay, so this ID is nothing but just a regular ID. How do you know that? Because group ID is same, user ID is same, and the group it belongs to is same. You don't see anything else going on here. You have a question? Did you get it? Are you not practicing?
Practicing, inside time.
Come to, come here into office weekdays
Okay.
and bring Abu Saud too. Hmm? Oh, you stuck somewhere? Share your screen. Salman, you're gonna help troubleshoot this, okay?
Okay, we'll try.
Okay. So where are you right now? Okay. Uh-huh. Now go ahead and run the command. So get back into root. So run the command. Enter. And it's all lowercase Red Hat.
Yep, he got it.
What was the issue? User error.
First time we use this is the third finger.
Okay. All right. Let's continue. Okay. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna elevate guy terminator. We'll give him the root access. Okay. So how are we gonna give somebody a root access? So there is a command you would run to grant him the root access. So user mod, that means user modification. Okay. Hyphen A means add, and then capital G as in guard. That means add, capital G means as a secondary group. Okay. And then type wheel, 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 just like, the round wheel. And remember this, wheel is a super user group. I don't know who came up with the idea, why is wheel and stuff. But in Linux environment, if two guys are talking and he's saying, oh, that guy is not in wheel, that means that guy is not a super user.
That's default.
Yeah, that's default. That's built in.
We cannot,
Uh,
if we build our own version of Linux, then we can.
Yeah, you could, if you have your own version of Linux, you could. But even the non-popular, most customized is wheel group. Oh, by the way, I was listening to Elon Musk podcast yesterday, Joe Rogan podcast, and he was talking about Linux. Tesla is using nothing but Linux. I'll put that clip in the group.
Must have created his own version of Linux, maybe.
Yeah, you take the Linux operating system and you literally run any electronic hardware with it. And okay, wheel is the group. Okay. And then who do you want to give access to? You want to give access to terminator. the user. No errors means it worked. So if I do ID terminator, now if you pay close attention here, he is part of a wheel group number 10. Okay, so one more time, what is happening in here? Pretty simple. This is the command. Okay, and this is the, okay, I messed it up. User mod is command. And then -ag means add, and then G means secondary group, okay? And this is the group. And this is the user. Let me take the screenshot. Okay, so what are we doing here? We are, so let's see here, grant okay, grant did I say sudo already once? So once we did that here, I have to explain this here. Okay, so user mod -ag will okay, so user mod is a command. Ag a means add, and minus uppercase G means secondary group. If you give a lower G, that means it will become a primary group then. And then group name or ID. And the user. Actually, username, or you could provide ID also. If you would have given the numbers, it would have worked. All right, so this is what you have here. So in here, let me put it down. Sudo equals super user do. That's what it stands for. That means do as a super user doing. Okay, so super user access. Okay, super user access. There will be full root access. It allows root to, it allows regular user to run root commands and become root. So what later on I'll show you some commands. You really don't have to switch to root to run the command here. So I will show you how that works. You could just casually run a command, and then you could like go ahead and complete the task without really switching to as a root here. So let me exit here. Okay, now let's do as let's exit out of here. Now come back as terminator. Go into your first server and come back as terminator. And then hit enter. It will ask you for the password. Why? Because the password list is not set up for that specific user. So it will ask you for the password again. And you put in the password and you come back as a terminator. And go ahead and quickly do sudo su minus. And then give the password for terminator. And notice you become a root now. Where are you now?
I'm at Linux. Then the command SSH terminator and, oh, okay, I forgot to give one more.
Yeah.
Password, that's one.
Are you guys all caught up?
Sir, I have an issue over here. It says cannot established.
Which number are you going into?
10.1.10.209.
10.1.10.209. Can you ping it?
10.1.
You are on your first server?
Now, yes. It's pinging.
So where are you right now?
I'm on ZenMPT at Salman 1.
Okay, no, you have to exit there
Exit. Okay.
and come back to the jump host. You're on a very first host, right? Where you connect first. Now there type SSH terminator at your first host.
10.1.10.209.
209, right?
It's asking for the password. Okay. Got it.
Okay, now what you might want to do is switch to just test it. Switch to root sudo su minus and give the password and see if you become root.
Okay. Root.
No, still as a terminator.
Yes. Terminator X. Yeah.
And then run the command sudo space
sudo
su minus.
sudo su minus. We trust you have entered
Yeah.
sudo password.
So give the terminator password.
Sudo terminator. Command not found. What I have done. Sudo.
You want to share your screen?
Let me try. Sudo su. I am on route now. Maybe because of the hyphen, I put the hyphen close. That's why.
Yeah, I mean, all those things matter. You have to put it
Oh.
accurately.
Okay. So I'm on route at. Yep, I'm on here.
Okay, now go back as terminator.
So hmm,
All right, let's continue. So here, okay, so test. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is, uh, let's try to do password PASSWD X-Men. Okay. Earlier, last time we created a user X-Men, and let's just do it as a terminator. You want to change the password for X-Men. And you get a message that says only root can specify a username. Okay, now terminator is mad. He has all the root power. So what he's gonna do is sudo. No, don't jump the gun. Now do password X-Men. So what we are doing here is we're gonna run the we're gonna elevate ourselves without actually switching to root. And then you give it a password for terminator. No, for terminator. Look down, it says password for terminator.
Okay. Or give the password for terminator.
It will ask you whatever password. Now it is running a root command. Now go ahead and change the password for X-Men. Okay, so if you get a message like this, that means you have successfully run the root command without switching to terminator. And if you try to change the password again, so you have like maybe a couple minutes before it asks you for the password again. If you run any other sudo command right now, it will take it without interrupting you for a password. But the point of this exercise is to show you could run the command without really switching to root here. Sometimes this is a fail-safe way to run some root commands. Why? Because you get timed out and you stay as a regular user. Some of the root commands you'll be running could be damaging. Okay, if you accidentally run a root command while still as a root, it could be damaging. If you are running a command as an elevated user using a sudo access, it will at least remind you that you're not running as a root. And that will also remind you that this is a root privilege password. Do you want to run it or not? So that's one layer of safety you have when you're running this kind of commands.
Even though your user is on admin group, right? Even then, it's so you have to switch yourself to the super user. Even you are on the regular user, right?
Yeah, he's a regular user and part of a
Admin group.
admin group.
Okay,
But
got
in this scenario here, we never were root. We were still as a terminator, but running a root command using a sudo access. Did you get it? Or I think you have a question.
No, I got it. Even you have the both access. You as a regular user plus admin.
Yeah, but this is a admin. This command is only reserved for admin. But the moment you add a sudo to it, what the system is doing is verifying that are you really part of an admin group, and it will ask you for the password. And since earlier we already are part of an admin group here, that's what the password is asking for your password. At the same time, it's verifying you part of the wheel group here. If you would have not a part of wheel group, it will deny the access.
Got it now. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so all right, we are there. What time is it? Okay, so we continue for another 20 minutes. Okay, so now what I'm gonna do is we're gonna start another big topic here. We are not completely done with user administration, but there is another topic. It's called permissions. If you have any permissions to able to uh, permissions in the sense if you have access to a files or a directories or a location, okay? So we will start that, and then we will be switching back and forth between permissions and user administration because they are interdependent. So this is a big topic, permissions. And all right, let's see what we got in permissions here. So let's go ahead and on your first server, let's go ahead and switch to root. sudo su minus and hit enter. And since you are a terminator, you have access to become root. Now I have become root. So if I do in your root directory, if you do ls-l, there is nothing in there, right? So let's do touch file and then hit enter. And then do ls-l. Okay. Now remember, we've been seeing this for a while now, but this part I said, hold off, we will do it in permissions here. Okay. So if you remember correctly, this is the point we're going to learn about all these things here. Yeah. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to only copy this part here and make it big. So if you see here, there are 3 blocks of permissions in here. First hyphen, we'll come back to it again. We have 3 spaces here, R, W, and minus. That is 1 block. R minus minus, okay, that is another block. And not the period. Then there is another R minus minus, okay? There is another block. Okay, so how many spaces we have? 3, 3, 3. So if we add all that, we have 9 spaces. Okay, so what we're gonna do is very first minus is not part of permission. But it indicates it's a file. Okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open a table here. Okay. So what I'm gonna do is merge these, merge these, merge these. Okay, so the first yellow part is a permission for user, okay? User. And it is represented with as U. Okay, the second color, the middle one, green part, is called group, represented with G. And the third part is referred to as others, okay? Which we don't have a good idea what others belong to, but others have little bit of permissions also. Okay, we'll figure out what others are in a bit. Now, under user, there are three spaces, right? Everybody has a space called read, write, and execute. RWE. Read is represented with lowercase r, write is represented with lowercase w, and execute is represented with lowercase x. So I'm going to go back here and this is true across all the others. All three has same stuff. And the numeric value for read is number 4. The numeric value for write is number 2. And the numeric value for execute is 1. So what would be in the group? It's the same thing. 4, 2, 1, 4, 2, 1. Okay? Again, read equals number 4, write equals number 2. You might want to save this somewhere good place. And execute has a numeric value of 1. Okay? So what does read means? Yeah, read the file. That specific user has a read permission. Okay, write means write into file, or I call it edit permissions. And execute equals for script file. Later on, we'll be running some scripts and stuff. This is called execute the file. That means run the file, execute the file. So in that, executing means you could delete file or folder also. Okay, so we have this concept here. So let's calculate the number value for file 1. Okay, so what I'm going to do is, so here, so we are only worried about this part here. We are only worried about this 9 spaces, okay?
So hyphen over here is execute or nothing?
No, see on the top, it says, I said very first, very
No,
first,
I'm not talking about the very first hyphen. There are hyphen in between, right?
so the hyphen place, I'll explain that to you. I'm coming to that exactly. So right now we are concentrating on this part only. Okay? So we are calculating the highlighted part. So so this is user, group, and others. So here I have RW minus, and here I have R minus minus. And the same thing here, R minus minus. Okay, now let's gather the numbers here. So RW, if you look here, we have R, W is 4 plus 2. And then X is, since there is a hyphen there, that means it's blank. In this scenario, hyphen means you don't have no permissions here. So you have only, for read, you have 6. Out of 7, you have only 6 permission. Group is 4 and others is 4 also. Why? Because they are only read. Read has a number value of 4. So the total permissions for the file is 644. So the final number for file is 644. And this is a default permission for file in Linux system. For root user. This is a Linux, this is a default permission for a file in Linux system for root user. Okay, I may have to change that. So let's see here. Now what I want to do is I want to modify the permissions. So what I'm going to do is, okay, I'm going to give a 2-minute pause. How is everybody doing? Any questions? This is a very important table. You might want to keep it close to your heart. And this will be it's a very easy to read table, and you will need it day in and day out. Every day you will need this. I'm using this every day. Okay, so no questions means let's move along. We'll continue for another 5 minutes and we'll take a break. So what's gonna happen next is, let's change the permission of a file. Right now, you don't need to understand what is happening, but you need to understand how a file permission can be changed. So what I'm gonna do is, I'm gonna say, I have a request to change the grant read write permissions to everybody. Okay? So read write. If we go up here, what is read write? The number value for read is 4 and number value for write is 2. So we have to combine 6. Okay, so what we have to do? We have to read write for user. User, he need read write and the value is 6. And the group is group, he needs a value read write and the number value will become 6. And then other, he need read write again and the value he is looking for is 6. So 666, that's a bad sign.
Satan.
Yeah. So let's go ahead and do that. Now you're learning a new command, chmod. Chmod means change modification. Okay, change modification and do number 666 and give it file and hit enter. And if you do your trusty ls-l, and if you bring your attention here, read write, read write, read write. Since this was already read write, but you already gave 6, it's not going to give you any error. It will go ahead and overwrite or whatever it did. It preserve the same permission, and whichever needs the permission changed, it went ahead and granted that permission. So now we have a new permission of 666 for the file. In this scenario, any user, a local root or anybody who could come in and he could read and write to that file. Okay, so here, and notice here, all users have read write. No. Okay, let me go ahead and save that. And let me do this. Okay, and let me save that. And I think, yeah. So let's go ahead and we will have a 20-minute break. I'm going to start the clock here. So we'll come back at 9:40 Central. Okay. So I'm going to pause the video and then we'll come back and then you guys just, go about, come back here and come back with some questions if you can. All right. So before the break, we saw how we modified the permissions here. So using the numbers. There are many ways you could modify the permissions, but this is the one of the easiest way. I'll definitely go over a bunch of other ways we could modify the permissions here, okay? So let's do this exercise one more time. All right, so this is very, very easy and very, very important. Why is it important is you don't want to end up giving permission to somebody who didn't deserve one, and that may cause a problem here. So in this scenario, a user could be a human user or application user, like Oracle, HANA, DB2, PAT INST. There are a bunch of other applications that use the user, okay? So, but for us, or for Linux, is nothing but just another user. So let's do this here. Okay, what I'm gonna do is grant additional execute permission to group. Okay, so what that means? So what are the current permissions here? These are the current permissions. Okay. This is the current. This is have. This is what they have. And this is what they need. Okay. So on top of that, it's calling for grant additional execute permission for group. So let's identify which one is group here, okay? Yeah, very good. Middle part is the group. Okay, so this part need to get modified. Everything else remain the same. Okay? So let's calculate that. Okay, how we gonna do is first part is not changing anything. So first part is gonna remain the same. Read write is do 2 plus 4 equals 6, okay? Now the second part, what you need is read, write, execute. So what you need is 2 plus 4 plus 2 plus 1 equals 7. Let me split this here. 4 plus 2 equals 6, okay? Now the last part is read write, so it's not changing anything. So let me just copy and paste it here. So last part is not changing. So our final product is final command, final number to use with chmod is 676. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is simple. Chmod 676, and I'm gonna give it file. And then I'll hit enter. Then I do ls-l and I do file. And if you draw your attention here, you see group has read, write, and execute permission for the file. Simple as that, easy peasy. Okay. Right now you may be thinking it's easy peasy, but you have to be really careful. Okay, double check your work each time and read what is being asked. Okay, grant additional execute permission for group. Make sure which one is group, which one is other, and which one is user here. Okay. Now, what we're gonna do is we have another task come up. It says take away all the permissions for everybody. Okay, now we have been asked to take away everybody's permissions here. So what we need to do is we have to make everything 0, 0. 0 plus 0 equals 0. All right, so we have 3 spots here, 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals 0. This is going to be 0 here. Why? Because we're making both parts 0 here. So what do we have now? So the final number to use is what? Final number to use is 000, 000. Okay, so if you do chmod 000 file, okay, it executed fine. If you do ls-l file, now you see it's all blank here. Okay, so we have accomplished everything is the user here. Now here's the funny thing, as a user, root user, this doesn't matter. You could still read and write and execute this file.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah, you do vi file and hit enter, and you could do like, I can edit this no matter what. So in this case, you have to do the override power. WQ exclamation. The letter X won't work here. Okay, it did not give you any error. And if you do cat file 1, I am edit this no matter what. Okay, so regardless of what the permissions are, it doesn't apply to root. Okay, so what does it tell you? It tells you you have to be a bit careful when you're using a user root. Okay, yeah, you got it. And then do cat the file, and you should be able to see.
Yeah.
So even though it's displaying for the user, in this case is the root. Okay, and now even though the file permission is nothing for root, but it doesn't matter. For root, it still has a permissions. Okay, and so moving along. Now we have given the permissions using the numbers here. Let's try using giving the permissions using numbers, letters. Okay, so we got grant, read and write permission only to user. Only to user. slash owner. Okay, sorry guys, I forgot to tell you. User, you could also use it as owner. User slash owner, OWNER. And one other thing I forgot is oh, okay, no, I did. User is represented with U, group is represented with G, and other is represented with O. Okay, so remember that. We're going to be using that right now. So now our task is to grant read and write permission only for a user or owner, okay? So let's do a math here. What we're gonna do is read, write. So for user, read, write, and minus sign equals 4 plus 2 equals 6. Okay, and other is dash dash dash, which is equals 0 plus 0 plus 0 equals 0. Here, what you could do is also plus 0. So it doesn't matter. 6 plus 2 plus 0 is, 4 plus 2 plus 0 is 6 anyway. And the last one is the same thing. We're not asking for anything. So it's gonna 0. So the required permission is is 600. But here, but the task is modify permission using letters. So we need to use letters this time around to modify the permissions here. How we gonna do that? Okay, okay. So what I'm gonna do is for the first user, what is the permission he need? He need read and write. Group, what is the permission he need? Nothing, blank, blank, blank. Okay. And then others, what is the permission he need? Same thing, blank, blank, blank. So how are we gonna do this here? So pretty simple here. So what I'm gonna do is chmod, then we're gonna say user, okay, okay, and how? This time around we're gonna do plus, read write. That means we're telling system change the modification for a file for a user, add read write to what file? No errors, ls-l file, and voila. You see, read write is now the permissions for the file. Is this true? Yes, this is what we are looking for. You what? You use the number?
Still use math. It's easy.
Yeah,
Easy to remember.
but I'll tell you what, you will start loving the letters in a moment. Okay, so now another task is grant everybody read and write. Okay, permission. So over here, what we're gonna do is everybody's read write, right? So okay, so how are we gonna do that? So chmod ugo plus rw file 1. There you go. You do ugo plus rw file 1 means now you're telling add permissions to user group others, and then what you want to do plus rw means give them the read write permissions for the whole thing. So I'm just in case I'm gonna put the number also here. The number would have been 666. This is what we did earlier here. Earlier it was 644, but now we have 666 here. And we accomplished the same thing using the letters. Yeah. Okay, so I want to emphasize this is the default. All right, now let's do the next exercise is remove some permissions here. So what I'm gonna do is remove write permission to other. So other would be, so if we copy these permissions here, this is what he has. And then it should look like this. Okay? This is what he have and this is what he need. Remove write permission to other, right? Okay. So let's identify other. The last three of 9 is other. So what we need to do is we need to get rid of W using letters here. So how are we gonna do that? Okay, CH O,
O plus R,
okay,
5, 5.
it didn't change anything. G would be group. So the correct way is O minus W. So what it does, it removes it.
Oh, okay. You know, rather than adding, you just remove.
Yeah, add, minus, remove. So now you see here, you could build up on this here. I mean, now you do plus and minus and stuff. So here right now, let's give full permissions here. So full permissions, right? So how I'm gonna do that? We do chmod ugo plus rw x, and then I'm gonna say file. And if I do ls-l file, now you see here, this everybody has everything here. By the way, if you see any file in real world scenario which has something like that, make a note of that. That is not right thing to see. Make a, if there is something wrong, if you are a Linux guy and then you seeing something this, um, make sure you raise some alarms here, because this is very bad. That everybody has every read and write permissions. It could be dangerous. So far we've been dealing with file here. Now let's move to folder or a directory. So everybody go ahead and make a file dir mkdir, and I give it a name. What should I give it a name here? Directory, right? Give it a name dir1 and hit enter. And if you do ls-l, you have a file and a directory here. So let me copy this part here. So if you notice here, by default, directories have a different permission here, right? But if you look here, directory, I think this came up when the class was starting, and I said directory. If you do per ls-l, you would see a little d. Okay, and if it's a file, I think I mentioned earlier today, if this is a file, it would be just a little minus, okay? This is just informational here. All right, so let's move on. So did I in here? Okay, by the way, in permissions, this is the user and this is the group. Okay. And for the file, this is the user and this is the group. What about other? Other is not shown here. Okay, so here, oh man. Okay, so user is yellow and group is gray and other is not shown. Others is not shown. Okay, I don't know why. uh, it only matters what is user and group. It doesn't really matter what others is. You could just understand what others is. All right, so that is what it is here. All right, so let's focus on directory permissions here. Okay, so I'm going to copy only the directory part. I'm going to make it bigger here. So then again, we are going to focus here. So same thing, directory has nine spaces of permissions, okay? Read, users, group, and others. So very first D is not part of permissions. It indicates directory or folder, okay? It's only for your use only. All right, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go up here and copy this. So the permissions remain the same, okay? Permissions, permission chart is the same here. But let's see how this is being applied here to directories. So what we're calculating here is default. So here, And also let's do read write. Okay, so same thing. Read is 4, write is 2, execute is 1. Read the files in the directory. Okay. If you have the permission to read the file, that means you're not reading the directory, but you're reading the files inside the directory. Write in this scenario is creating the files inside the directory. Write for the file is writing inside the file. But in this scenario, if you go into the directory and you do touch, then you are able to write to the directory.
You can create the files in the directory.
Yeah, that's what in this means is write.
Okay, question. If I give full access to the directory, right? Read, write, execute in a directory. Whatever files in that directory, do I have same access to those files as well? By default?
If you are a user, it depends because this is 3 or 4 topics down, this will come up. But to answer the question, it depends on the thing here. So if the directory has, for example, read, the directory has read, write, and execute permission. So what you could do is you could go inside the directory. You could read the file and create the file in the directory.
Yeah.
You could do those 2 things. But if you see others, he could go into the directory, but he cannot write to the directory and he cannot read any files in the directory.
But can execute.
Yeah, the reason execute directory has is like that door. A regular user is able to go in that door. He could see what's in it, but he could go into the gym, but he's not able to use the gym because he doesn't have write permissions.
I cannot add anything.
You cannot add anything. So execute is going inside the directory. That's what it means. In this case, execute means going inside the directory as a user. So in this case, by default, everybody has a execute permissions.
Okay.
In Linux doesn't care if a user is able to see what's inside the directory, but he's not able to see if it's a sensitive directory. By default, I think the user is still able to go in there, but he cannot read the files. So this part stays the same here. Now let's calculate the number value of the directory. Number value of permissions for dir1. Okay, so by the way, guys, get in the habit of documenting stuff. I know you guys are writing, sending the assignments. That is very good. You need to get in the habit of documenting stuff, okay? You will be creating SOPs, standard operating procedures at your work. like how to do stuff. Okay, so it's easy, copy, paste, and then the better you better you capture, the better you capture the steps, the better it gets for you. Okay, so first part is for the directory. Where is the directory here? Let me copy that. So first part, D, we are gonna ignore that. Read, write, execute, that means number 7. And this is read and execute. So 4 plus 1 is 5, good. And 4 plus 1 is 5. So the default 755. By default, the directory permissions is 755. Okay, all right. So let's see here. What I'm gonna do is actually uh okay, PWD. Let's do this here. Let's do mkdir slash user ID. Make sure you putting in the slash here, okay? This is very essential for you to understand how this is gonna work. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is on your putty, go ahead and right click and do duplicate session. And then go ahead and log in as your ID. All right, so now we're gonna keep 2 windows next to each other. Like you could move it up and down or whatever, resizes. So now on the second new window you opened, go ahead and connect as a terminator to that server you're working on. SSH. No, stay as terminator on the second window. First window stay as root. So on the first window, what we're gonna do is do ls-ld slash user ID, okay? And these are the permissions you have on that folder. So let's go ahead and
Others cannot access.
you using as router root. slash user ID. You have two windows open, right?
I'm at the root.
You should have two windows. One is for the root, other one is for terminator.
Correct, yes.
Okay, good. We are on the same page.
No, but I cannot run that user ID command.
What is the output?
Cannot access. ls cannot access slash user ID. Yeah, ls hyphen space slash user ID. Yeah.
Did you go ahead and make one? Did you made one? Go ahead and make one mkdir space slash user ID.
User ID.
Slash, make sure it's slash. Because we are creating this directory in the not root directory. If you do ls-l, it's not there. It's in the slash root directory. You're creating a user directory, user ID directory in the topmost directory.
Yeah, I'm with you.
Now what we're gonna do is, so as a terminator, do cd slash user ID and hit enter. If you do pwd, the user terminator, he's conveniently able to get inside the directory. Okay, so just do cd and go back, come out of the user ID. So let's do, let's go ahead and remove all access to user ID from the root access. So do chmod 000 and then slash user ID. And then if you do ls-ld slash user ID, this is the permissions you should have. There shouldn't be anything.
Yeah.
Remove all for user ID, okay. So now grant, okay, now as a terminator, try to go back in there, cd slash user ID. You see the permissions is denied. Why the permissions is denied? Because there are no permissions for other and anybody else. But root could still do that.
Permission. Yeah.
So now, okay, and then as a user, okay, hold on. Copy this part here. Okay, so now, okay, now we're gonna little bit pivot to a concept here called UMask, okay? UMask. Okay, so I'm gonna have to explain this in a bit detail. We have enough time. So what we have so far is, so here, if I do ls-l, so the permissions you're seeing are set by UMask. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type UMask and hit enter. As a root, you should see 2002.
Yep.
Yeah, so what is happening here is 002 is it means a big it means a lot here actually. So first zero, okay. Alright. So first zero is symbolic. It has no meaning to it. The second zero is representing 0. And the second one, I'm sorry, first is user, second is group, the third is others. Okay, let's see why we have this here, okay? So first of all, we're gonna, I kind of have give information here, but how the file permissions are working here. Okay, over here are the file permissions. So the file permissions are based on full permissions 666. Okay, file permissions are based on full permission 666, and I'll explain you what it means here. I have this little table, and so the user has 6 permissions, group has 6 permissions, others has 6 permissions. But the system UMask last 3 digit is 022. That means it's masking. UMask means mask. Mask means, so what is the permission set for UMask is 022. So when we calculate here, from the user it removes 0. So from user, everybody has 6 permission. But since the UMask is there, so this happens automatically. This happens instantaneously. System provides 666 permissions to the file. In fraction of a second, the UMask removes based on what is already set, which is default is 6022. It removes 2 permissions and it removes 2 permissions. So So for the file, what it remains is 644. So if we go up here, what was the original simple file we created? And the permissions was 644, okay? Because UMask is doing that. Similarly, the UMask for the directories is same thing. Directory permission. Okay. Directory permission is based on 777, 777. All of these guys is 777. 777. Okay. 7 minus 0 is 7. 7 minus 2 is what? 5. 7 minus 2 is 5. So the default is 755. Is this familiar to you? Yes. Up here, if you scroll up, there you go. 755 is the default permission for file or for a directory. For directory in Linux system for root user, okay? So when you create a directory, it gets 777, that means full permissions, then whatever the UMask is set to, it removes those permissions and it gives you the final permission, which is 755. Okay, so this is conceptual and you barely fool around with UMask. Okay? So let's do this here. Let's set UMask as 0000. And if you do UMask, it's all 000. And I'm gonna do touch file 1. And if I do ls-l file 1, okay, there you go. UMask is now 666. The permissions is 666 because there is nothing to remove from here. mkdir and let me make dir 2. And if I do ls-ld dir 2, voila, very dangerous situation here. You have like everything full masked. I mean, nothing is masked here. So if you exit and come back, the UMask will be default UMask. You barely fool around with UMask. If somebody is asking you to change the UMask and you don't know that person, and even if your manager is coming to you and asking you to change the UMask, don't do it. Escalate to your managers, and managers. Go all the way up to root, head of the company, okay? Nobody should be coming and asking you to change the UMask.
Mr. Farr, what is the reason people use UMask?
By default, it's correct. But nobody should be asking you to change the UMask. Then all the permission, all the files by default going forward will be set to whatever the UMask is. Like if I create hundreds of files here and directories, it will have like a good amount of permissions. Like this user, he shouldn't be having by default read permissions, write permissions, right? And if somebody is unintended user is in the system, in the environment, and he gets the right permission, it could be damaging. So
But
it's,
like, what is the reason for it? Like, can you assign a UMask to a specific group?
can I assign a UMass to a specific group?
Like, for instance, let's say you have like the wheel group, right? And you wanted to make a UMask 0000 for everybody in the group. Like, are you able to do that? Or what would be the reason for the UMask in the first place? If we can just change the permissions manually.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, the UMass should never be 000. If it's a 000, then that's you should ring, raise concern. But if the UMask is not default, by the way, UMask for the user could be different here. If you do UMask for the user, the UMask is 0002. That means if a file is user is creating, um, let's see here, touch. So okay, actually I'm jumping the gun. Yeah, I shouldn't be showing this now because you get confused. But yeah, the UMask is sometimes you could change the UMask temporarily if you have like an application team, um, they are working on it and they want some extra permissions or different permissions created during their application work. So most of the time, I had a UMass change only like 2 times in my life, and both times I was on the call with the users. I changed the UMass temporarily. They were on the call for an hour and a half, and they did whatever they task, and they changed it back. So if you are generating like a lot of files and directories and subdirectories, and you don't want the UMass to be interfering, and you want like a specific permissions going in there, then you could do it. Usually it's only temporary. Did you get it?
Yeah, no, I get it. It's like
Yeah.
like it's basically like a situation type of case type of
Mhm.
thing. Yeah.
But for a root user, you could change UMass whenever you want, but then also you would be destructive to the company. You
Yeah.
shouldn't be doing that.
Yeah, no, I got you.
So if
Thank you.
sure, if you exit and come back here as a root and you do UMask, yeah, see it promptly came back to 022 because it's very important that UMask stays what it's supposed to. So this is usually a discussion topic. You're not using it as much, but you never know if you end up using it or not. Okay, moving along. So we are done with UMask here. Now, so far, we have been focused on permissions here, but let's focus on group permissions here, okay? So we need to identify what groups are and how we could manipulate the permissions for it. So I'm gonna say group permissions. All right, so yeah, let's see here. Okay, in Linux is a mechanism to manage a large collection of user and manage their permission. Okay, all Linux user have a user ID. User ID. So user ID is UID. UID, okay? You will deal with this a lot. And group ID. It's called GID, GID. Okay, by default. So if you here, I'm gonna minimize this. Here, if you do ID terminator, right? Yeah, so you have so what I'm gonna do is put this here. Copy from here. So in this scenario here, you have user ID is UID equals 1001. Group ID, primary group for the user is automatically a group ID is created with the same number, which is 1001. And then this one is the groups the user belongs to. Right now, he's a part of wheel group and also he's part of his own group. So this is informational. It's telling you the user ID and group ID of that user and the groups it is resolved to. So the second part is a bit confusing when you see groups again. But this is like the part of a group here. Since it's part of this group, that's why it's showing you 1001 here. So let's create a new group. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say group add. So if you are creating a group, this is the first time we creating a group manually. Okay, group 1001, it was created by the system. And then group 10, which is wheel, which is a default built-in group that comes with Linux, okay? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a brand new group called group add, okay, and -G. That means it's gonna be a primary group. And then I'm gonna give a number for that group. So here, this was created default, right? Why? Because this was the series it's following. But if you are specifying whatever group ID while you're creating it, at the moment, it will do it for you.
Has to be like 4 digit.
Yeah, 4 digit, I think, yes.
That's the default nomenclature.
Yeah. Let's go back up here. If we go up in the notes here, we have it in logins. Logins. Okay, so login definitions here. We have this value starting from 3000 here. You could definitely change this. This was by default, it's coming with 1000s. We change it to 3000. So for example, if we don't specify 9000, it will create a next available group ID. Okay, so now group, we are specifying a group, and then since we created terminator, it created a user ID terminator, and it assumed that the group name of that group is terminator also. We could have modified that while we creating that. So, but now we are creating the terminator. We're gonna create a group named machine. Okay, these are terminators we're coming out of the machines here, so they're part of machine group. Okay, and then the ID is group ID is created here. Now we have not created the user ID. We have created the group ID. Okay, so let me save that. Now what we're gonna do is we see Terminator, he's part of groups, he belongs to his Terminator group and the wheel group. Now we add him to the machine group. Okay, so how are we gonna do that? We have already done this, right? User mod -a uppercase G. We're gonna make it as a secondary group. Okay, and then we could do a machine, or we could give a 9000 also. And who you gonna give this to? You're giving is okay. Let's do this here. We're gonna use machine 9000, then we're giving it to user 1001. What? User 1001 doesn't exist.
But that user exists in group terminator.
No, that is so let's see here if we give not the name, if we give the terminator. Yeah, it took it. I don't know why it's not taking you the ID. So if you do ID terminator, now he's part of machine group also. I don't know why it's not showing the group ID. I always thought it would work with. See, sometimes these are the things here you learn as you go. I wasn't aware that it may not create the ID. So now, if you pay close attention here, now he is part of a machine group also. Did you create machine? Go ahead and create machine. Group, look at my screen, I highlighted here.
I create the group machine, not the user ID. Group ID, yes, you can create the group ID minus the 9,000 machine, but it's not showing in terminator ID.
Okay, now add user mod, run this command. Is it working for him? Okay, good. So what we're gonna do is, let me clear the screen. Let's create another directory called mkdir slash assignment. And if you do lsf and ld slash assignment, you see a group. Which part is group here? Read, write, execute. If you see lsf and ld group, it belongs to root here. Now, if you are a terminator, right? Log in as terminator and clear the screen and do cd slash assignment and hit enter. Okay, so what you do is you are able to get in there. Now, do touch file 1. Right click and refresh. Right click on the top and say restart. Right here on the top, right click, and then you should see, don't you have restart?
Reset.
That's a bad example, I think. Yeah, go ahead and do that. Yeah. And hit enter. It should come back right away. Okay, so go ahead and you're in.
And I am in CD assignment, yes.
Okay, CD assignment, right?
Yeah.
So over there, do PWD and then try to do as a terminator, touch file 1. It says touch cannot file 1, permission denied. What are you logged in as?
Terminator.
But which directory are you in? Do PWD?
Assignment.
Is it slash assignment or assignment? You should see a little slash here too.
Yes. It's slash assignment.
Can you share your screen?
Maybe I need to set the permission first before that.
No, you're not supposed to change anything. Let me see your screen. Okay, so okay. And then go back to the screen where it's root say and do IP space A and hit enter. You're in same IP 143, other one is 143 too, or 43.
40.
Go, okay. So here do PWD here. Do ls hyphen LD period space period. Hit enter. How did that happen? Oh, do umask. Enter. Okay, so your umask is still set to 000. Type exit here. And then go back in as root. Bring the line back up. Sudo su minus red hat. So what happened? You missed the part of exiting the umask. Okay, now remove the directory rm-rf slash -rf space slash assignment tab. There you go. Okay, on the other screen, exit as just get out of the directory. Just type cd. Okay, now on the root screen, go ahead and create a directory mkdir slash assignment. No, not here, the other place, other window. All right, now try to go in. Yeah, there you go. There you go. No, ls-ld assignment. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you could do tab also. Okay, now try to do CD assignment. No, not here, not here, as a terminator on the other screen. Yeah. No, exit. Let's exit out of there. Okay, now go ahead and go back in there now. Maybe your session was still active. No, no, not, I think you have to go into SSH. Bring the line back up. You should already have the line in there. 10.1.10.43. Can you try going into assignment? What? Can you go back to the root and then see what is the permissions there? Okay, no, actually you're good. No, go back in there, bring the line back up. Yeah, enter. Yeah, put the terminator. And go into assignment. You could use the tab key, it will autofill it for you. Now do touch file 1. No, not in assignment. You see permission denied. Okay, this is where we want to come, okay? All right, so the time is up, so we'll stop here. And we'll pick it up next week.